Hello, welcome to SSGTV South Sudan Global. 5 ways tribalism is bad for South Sudan. What is a tribe, tribalism, and what good or bad do you know about tribalism? How many tribes do we have in South Sudan? If you have not yet subscribed, please subscribe as we will continue to bring you informative videos. Africa is blessed with 3,000 tribes. This abundance of tribes make Africa the most diverse continent on earth. During the colonial era, Europeans introduced the concept of divide and rule, which pitted tribes against tribes. The end goal was to eliminate any risk of resistance. Remember, they say, together we stand, divided we fall. For the case of South Sudan, we too are blessed with 64 tribes. What befalls the rest of Africa befell us South Sudanese. Let's take you down the historical memory lane. The British and Egypt formed a partnership known as Anglo-Egyptian Condominium in 1899, which ruled the Sudan. This handshake government was established for the sake of plundering resources and subjugating the Sudanese masses, both Arabs and black Africans. While the British overlords were the short callers, the Egyptian subordinates did the donkey work. In fact, the Egyptians instilled favoritism, racism, and Islamization of the Sudan. The areas occupied by the Arabs were devolved, while the areas in the black populated southern Sudan were neglected. The only thing we got was the spread of Christianity by the British. By the way, we have nothing against Christianity as a religion. The Arabs' populated areas had infrastructure, a well-established educational system, healthcare, and agriculture, among others. Fast forward, Sudan gained independence on January 1, 1956. However, in 1955, before the independence, the mutiny of soldiers of black African descent is stationed in Tori town led by Father Saturnino Lohure, General Emilio Tapeng, and Ali Batalao ushered in the Anyanya I rebellion, which ended in 1972 after the signing of peace agreement in Addis Ababa, Ethiopia. The reason for the Anyanya I rebellion was the fear of instant domination by Arabs in the aftermath of independence. Anyanya is a Madi word which means snake venom. In 1983, the Anyanya II rebellion occurred, which led to the birth of the SPLM-SPLA. During the SPLM-SPLA War of Liberation, the Arabs applied the same divide and rule concept used by the Anglo-Egyptian colonizers. Many tribes in the south were pitted against each other. I won't delve much into this since it is a common knowledge. Suffice to say, South Sudan became independent on July 9, 2011. After we voted unanimously for secession from the Arab-controlled Sudan. Although hopes were high in 2011, South Sudan was lost into the dustbin of tribalism. Tribalism became the small god of South Sudanese. Tribalism is such a blight on our national consciousness that we are left scratching our heads infinitely. Historical background aside, here are 5 reasons tribalism is destroying South Sudan. Number 1. Tribalism destroys innovation. For instance, didn't you know that the human mind can innovate things that correspond with its surroundings? The more diverse the surroundings, the richer the innovation. Now assume a case where one lives his whole life surrounded by the members of his tribe. Don't you see a problem right there? The way people of a certain tribe see things is not the same way the people from other tribes see things. This contradiction in the logic and understanding of the surroundings by the tribes is what breeds innovation. South Sudan as a country does not appreciate this crucial fact. Number 2, underdevelopment. Tribalism is an enemy of development. Just look around Africa and you will see the correlation between underdevelopment and tribalism. For example, the tribe that holds the reign of power would be tempted to farm developmental projects into their area, leaving the rest of the country with crumbs. This creates the feeling of exclusion and hence breed animosity and hatred towards other tribes. South Sudan is no exception. Ruling elites reward tribemates with opportunities despite having no qualifications whatsoever. So you have a scenario where those who know something are shut out and those who don't know anything become part of the system. We have many educated South Sudanese who are jobless, while the illiterate peers connected to the system are living the high life. Number three, impunity. In a balkanized country, political animals get away with a lot of wrongful stuff. They are above the rule of law because their tribes become the power behind their thrones. There have been cases where politicians who embezzle money have resorted to arming and training their tribal militias, which provide them with protection from a possible arrest. There was a hilarious story where a big fish accused of corruption was freed from his holding cell by AK-47 wielding youths. The case died down like a dodo. Number four, weakening of institutions. Since tribes become the major factor for attaining or retaining leadership, the political class rejects any faith in existing institutions like the judiciary. As long as they are able to maintain tribal allegiances, there is nothing under the sun they can fear. Educational system, governance, and many others have been hijacked by the lords of tribalism. So how do we get out of this mess? Just wait. Number five, insecurity. With the country awash with all stripes of tribal militias, your guess is as good as mine that tribalism creates insecurity. For instance, politicians facing numerous scandals do turn to their tribes and preach to them that they are being persecuted because of their tribal affiliations. This exacerbates retaliations as a means of fighting back against their enemies, perceived or real, who are out to kick their sons and daughters out of the government. Matters are made worse when these leaders use public monies to procure weapons for their tribal militias. The end result is infinite waves of violence across South Sudan. I challenge you to destabilize your mind. Remember, we don't choose which tribes we are born into. We find ourselves in respective tribes. Also, tribes are not bad. It is what we do that counts. We have to appreciate our diversity as a tool of strength, not weakness. If you have not yet subscribed, please subscribe as we will continue to bring you informative videos.